Hello, everyone, and welcome to our brand new podcast, Hypothetically Speaking. I am joined with some very wonderful hosts of the show here. We've got Anthony. Say hello.
Hey guys.
We got Joey
Hello.
and Preston.
Hello.
Now, I just read it off the order that appears on my Discord, so no rhyme or reason to that. Hypothetically speaking, as the name implies, we're just going to go through different situations we find on the internet, primarily Reddit, and discuss them. See what kind of answers we can come up with. See what kind of conversations we can get into. How's everybody feeling tonight? How's everybody doing? Everybody excited?
Allergy grind is real.
I think we got some good stuff lined up.
I agree.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm excited to see the different answers and because these are hypothetical situations, so it's like you can kind of go wild. So it's gonna be good.
Yeah, I think we're gonna have a lot of fun here. So, all right.
The gorilla wins.
No. Okay, no, we're not gonna start this. We're not gonna start talking about the gorilla. Round one. Okay. Let's see. I think Preston, do you want to start us off with your situation?
All right. So you're transported 3 days prior to 9/11. You have the following 3 days to do everything in your power to stop 9/11 either from happening entirely or to prevent any lives from getting lost. How you do so is up to you, but you won't be able to have any photos or really any proof that this happens. Simply your word and information that you have today. How do you do that?
My strategy, since nobody would probably listen to me, would probably just be like, do something to the buildings myself, which wouldn't cause any harm to lives, but it would make them have to close the buildings for a few
Like
days.
a fire alarm or something.
Yeah, like it's like something that would make people get out of the building completely for a few days, like a crime or something that I would just commit.
Okay.
Okay, wait. I
Crime.
have a good question. What about the people on the plane? Are we stopping? Are we trying to stop the planes too? Is that
I
part of
mean,
the?
It's just you can kind of stop it completely,
but
or just
I don't think that would
drop it
consider
time.
losing. I think just if you are able to save the people's lives who are in the towers.
Mm.
I think Joey has a good idea. Just just sabotage something within the building to make it
See,
unenterable.
I feel like there's a lot of people who just be like, I don't have time for this. I need to go to work. I need to run my company, whatever it might
Like
be.
business would have to close the building down for a certain reason, or like,
The World Trade Center.
well,
That's
something
a big ask.
that is a tall order.
Tall
I
order.
That is
think
a tall
that
order.
the way that I would approach this, I think the easiest way to do it is if you could like recall the airline or the flight number. I think the best idea would be, let's say you could even have some more information. I think if you could call the airline, I think an airline would take a reported like danger pretty seriously. At least nowadays, I don't know how that would go, but if
But this is
you
before 9/11, though. This is
Yeah,
before 9/11.
you
They didn't
can't.
take
You
this
can't.
seriously.
Are you
At
allowed to
least they didn't
specifically tell
terrorist
people?
perspective.
Are you allowed to specifically tell people what's gonna happen?
Well, you can call police and stuff and tips, right? That's completely within the range. But like, remember, airlines were like super not careful,
That's true.
like incredibly not careful before 9/11.
I don't know. I think there was some care to it, but I mean, obviously, the idea prior that there was that you follow the orders of whoever is taking you hostage because less
Right.
people would get hurt. But then after 9/11, that sort of changed. But I think if they got a report that sounded serious enough, it would take some
I would
consideration.
pose as a terrorist. I would just pose as a terrorist, threaten the flight, and then the flight would get canceled.
I guess, but that just I don't know. It seems kind of easy to take that way out, where it's like you just basically you're from the future. You had this information.
No.
Yeah, but
They don't know I'm from the future.
you could, even if you told them that you're from the future, how do you get them to believe you?
They're not gonna believe that. I would just actually make a legitimate threat, act the criminal, and make them have to respect the crime.
I kind of agree with Joey
Yeah.
because it's like, how else? I mean, maybe reporting it, maybe saying, "Hey, I got a tip that this is gonna go down on these three
But
flights or whatever."
how do you know that there's not going to be somebody who's just, I'm going to work, I don't care?
Well, no, but I
Well,
was
we're
no,
talking
like
about, like,
also,
in
we're
on
talking
the
about calling
plane.
the flight. We're gonna go back to calling the flight. Like,
Yeah, I think the flight's your best bet. If you could get
Yeah.
the airline to stop that flight.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think that's the best option. Just trying to get.
it is a big ask though to try to stop something like this, just because. I think you're kind of right, Preston. It's like people would just be like, "Oh, I'm going to work no matter
Yeah.
what, because I gotta make my money or something."
And
So
like
that
this
is true.
it was like it was a world changing event as far as security goes.
Right.
So many things got security was more of a heightened concern after that point. So yeah, I feel like you'd have to
oh my
cause
goodness, who
quite
knew
a
crimes
stir.
could be committed? I cannot believe crimes could be committed on American soil of all places.
But I will say
That's
the question was,
insane.
we have 3 days.
You have 3 days.
Oh,
I
I
can get
forgot
all
about
this
that.
one.
You're
I
gonna
get
have
all-
some
hey, we're-
time also.
You do have some time.
But yeah, I think I would do 2 things. I can do like 2 things, right? That's
Do
okay.
whatever. You can do whatever.
Okay.
You could do
So-
anything. You just couldn't take any
Like,
information from the
proof.
future.
Yeah.
Like,
No, I think
obviously, you
a
have
photo
knowledge
or
that you
video
could
or
speak,
something
but
like-
you couldn't have, yeah, like, nothing like
Okay.
that.
No, so I think what I would do is I would do something to the buildings to try to make it so that it's dangerous for people to be in there. Put something in the air vents that it's time to get removed, you know?
Oh, like set off some kind of like off gassing, like something that with off
Yeah.
gas.
Yeah. But then, like, realistically, I don't know, like, what was security like in those buildings, you know?
Yeah, it's not
Did
like
you need a
can
key
just walk
card to
in.
go
I don't think-
anywhere?
I don't think you can just like walk in.
Well, try to get, like, a job as a janitor or something.
And you have to
Okay,
remember,
Okay, wait, but you're not allowed to take anything from the future, right? So you
No.
don't have any personal information, technically. You don't have anything.
No,
What do you mean? I mean, you have your
you're
knowledge.
teleported back. You in that time frame. You what Anthony said. You could apply to like be a janitor, something to get access to the building, so you
Yeah.
could cause something to happen that would need people to evacuate.
You also have to
Yeah.
remember that 9/11 was the second attack on the tower. Somebody had previously tried to set a bomb off underneath the tower.
Oh,
So clearly, you know, there's going to be heightened security from the beginning, even though it's years later.
okay. Or how
Yeah.
about this?
The
Or
ri-
what if just set like the top floor on fire and
Yeah,
get people
well, no.
get people out of the building.
You have
But
to
that
like,
wouldn't stop people, though, from going into the building. You know?
If it's on
Unless
fire?
it's burning.
I'm not
Unless it's
sure-
burning.
No, like
So you're saying that day
firefighters.
set fire.
Firefighters getting hit by the planes.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah, the firefighters would be included if the firefighters lost their lives.
Man,
So I think there's like, you would have to do it like realistically. You're gonna have to find some way to get a job there to get access to the building. Then you're gonna have to befriend someone that has access to areas, and then try
In
to
3
get
days?
a key card. Yeah,
In 3 days.
yes.
Like
right.
you have
but
to rely
still.
on the idiocy of the person. Like,
But then, but I'm just saying, realistically, this is what you kind of have to do to save. Now, if you just call off the flights, that's one thing.
if you could even
But you
like,
never
get
know.
get that far.
Yeah, yeah.
I do wonder if that's harder than we'd think.
I would
do
still
feel
just-
like-
I would still make an anonymous threat. Like
Would they have just gone to a different flight then? You know?
if you make an anonymous threat to the police, they won't know which flight has been like
No,
They
you
won't
would have
know
to tell them
Yeah,
which
which
flight.
flight to get
Yeah.
on.
If you could get people out of the building, then that would be
So
that would still
I
meet the
think-
criteria for the challenge.
I think it would be easier to get the flights canceled.
Or
But what's the concern here? Is it the building, or is it just kind of stopping the whole thing from happening?
Stopping the people from
Realistically,
dying is
though-
primary priority. But if you can stop the building from crashing, you get extra points, basically.
you have to also consider that delay. If you put it out like that, it realistically would only delay a flight. So that doesn't mean that these people would.
Hmm.
Yeah, no, that's true.
The other thing is, if they were to catch me somehow, which they probably would, they would arrest me and then figure, oh yeah, crisis averted.
Do you get transported to the future after this challenge is over? Do you get...
Yes.
So that opens up a whole nother
it would
wormhole of
change
history being altered.
forever.
Yeah, history would be altered.
We're not gonna focus on that right now. We're just trying to save lives, Mike. Who cares if your wife doesn't make it?
Because I really do like the idea of trying to get the flights canceled. I think that's a really good way of just averting the whole thing.
But the people are still out there, and they're
people are
still trying to do the same thing.
But we're just trying to stop.
Day. We're stopping this. We're trying to stop 9/11 altogether.
Well, I don't know. Is it possible to stop 9/11?
It's not like terrorists had like a reason to do it on that day specifically. It's like that's the kind of the day they chose, I guess.
Well, I think there was I think it was the
Right.
idea that it would be like, oh, well, this is your emergency number, so
That is true.
why don't we do this day? I think they do believe that could have been a consideration. But
So
I
I
don't
think-
think that means they wouldn't do it the next day if they could.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I think the attack was just the thing they were going for.
What if we
what
tried
if-
to hijack the plane? No,
they were-
think about it.
In 3 days, you're gonna learn how to hijack a plane.
No, you
Flight
get on the
simulator,
you
it
hijack
exists.
The plane, you hijack the plane, you go to prison, and then 3 days later you get transported back to real reality, and you're fine.
You're just like, poof,
Well,
out of it.
does that mean it would be 10 years later in prison?
Oh, so whatever you do,
As long as I time skip the prison, I'm fine.
I think that would be like a life sentence.
Hijacking a plane, no.
Hey, at least we saved people. At least we stopped one of the worst
I
disasters.
don't think hijacking a plane would be a life sentence back then.
I think
Well, what does back then have to do with anything?
Well, anything that has to do with a plane is just like you have the death penalty now. Because if you do if you try to commit a crime with a plane.
Yeah, but I'm sure back then, if you hijacked a plane, you would still go to jail.
Yeah, you would. But like let's see. Look this up. How long
Yeah, but like, remember, there were 2 planes. So
Right.
you'd have to get somebody to hijack it with you.
Well, there were, what, 3 planes in reality?
Oh, that's true. There's
So
one that
that's the other
crashed
thing.
in
We tried to stop
Pennsylvania.
that.
Wait, 9/11 include the third plane that hit like the random building somewhere else?
yeah.
No, it hit a
It
few.
does.
Oh shoot.
Oh man,
And-
this is.
But let's just
I don't
focus
think
on
it'd
the
be
Twin
done.
Towers.
Yeah, that's kind of like the more
Yeah, we don't
focused
care about
area.
the other building, guys.
My thought
Yeah.
process is, I think at the time, their direction was it's probably safer to follow the orders of whoever's hijacking the plane. Like that was their current direction. Now it's
Yeah.
changed and like the cockpit doors are bulletproof now. But previously it wasn't that way. And so the question is though, if you hijack the plane, does that shake those people's lives up enough to the point that they wouldn't do that anymore? Like they wouldn't try and follow through with that.
Won't it happen just again? What happens if a year later they tried it? You know.
I mean, I guess
would
it
have-
wouldn't be
You would
9/11.
have to threaten. See, okay, we can't stop the flight. Stopping the flight's not practical because they would just find a different flight. We would have to get people out of the building during the time that the plane hits the building.
But the problem with, but remember, when it hit the building, it kind of severed the
fighters, like
connection. It severed the connection between the
Oh,
floors.
it's
No,
actually-
but we have to have people out when like everyone's out by the time the plane hits the building because they won't know that people are out of the building. They won't have any way of knowing that.
Oh, guys, I forgot. There's actually 4 planes in 9/11. 2 planes crashed into the World Trade Center, 1 into the Pentagon, and then Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Pennsylvania, just like hey guys,
No,
we-
no, because
you-
they no,
Let's
they
focus on the
suspect
main-
they suspect that 4th plane was going to the White House. But then it somehow lost course.
They were shooting really high. Let's just be real. See, you
This is a tough one. This is a tough one to come up with an
if you
actual
would
good...
if you hijacked the plane, then purposely failed at doing 9/11, they would tighten up security, and then
You have to remember,
disaster would
though,
be
that
averted.
it's interesting because I do wonder. I think they used fake passports. So do you think that could have been a security measure that could have got tightened up because of that?
Do we know who... Okay, wait a minute. Do we know who the people were? Do we know who the hijackers were?
Something like
I
that.
don't know if we have names. or
Yes, but what could you do about it?
It would be a stretch. But could you get a job in airport security?
In 3 days, no.
In
I
3
mean-
days, I think you would require government clearance. That would take.
Or could you tip them off for like somehow for the passports? You'd like
you
be on the
know
lookout for these people.
You don't know how seriously they'll take a tip.
I think it's a tough
Like,
one.
personally, I just think that if you try to commit 9/11 yourself but purposely fail, then they'll tighten up security 3 days in advance. And then 9/11 won't be able to happen because the loopholes and stuff won't be there.
I think going back, okay, the original question was how does we're trying to prevent the people from dying from the buildings
In the
getting
tower.
hit in the towers, right?
In the
So-
2 towers.
Yes, it would be great to stop the whole attack, but that doesn't mean that it wouldn't happen again. You know, another attempt or whatever.
Wait, that's why I'm saying we should just
I
do
think-
it ourselves. Fine,
No,
I'll do
I'm
it myself
saying-
kind of stuff.
I think you just need to find a way to not get people or firefighters in the building, but having
That's what I'm
people
saying. I think we can,
having people understand that and follow through with that, I think that's the challenge.
you need to, that's what I'm saying. You would need to do something to the building.
Yeah,
And
we
that,
need
I think
That's why I'm
you
saying
have
just
to
commit
get it
9/11
evacuated.
yourself.
You have to find
You
somebody
have-
to get it evacuated.
Do it yourself.
Do what yourself?
And just purposely fail.
Okay,
What,
but Joey,
hijack a plane?
you had to find another person to do it with you
Why?
I don't think it's
because
that
there were two
simple.
planes.
No, you do it 3 days in advance.
I don't think it's that simple. You also have to consider, I imagine that you would go back in time. I guess I didn't really think about this, but where would you be when you went back in time? You have to consider,
Yeah.
where's the plane coming from that you're on? Where do you get the money?
I know.
I'd imagine you'd be in New York City when you went back in time.
yeah,
that would,
because
that would
we
be
just
the best place, obviously.
Do I bring money with me? Do I get anything like money with me?
No.
Okay.
So if you're just dropped in California, what do you do? But I feel like the
I wonder
question
if there'd
is
be a way
more,
to could you cut power to the building? I don't know.
But would that get
or
everyone
evacuate
out?
people.
Oh, yeah, cut the power.
Would a power outage make everybody evacuate a building?
Well, if
though?
they can't, I'm thinking either power outage or the fire alarm.
But
And then firefighters will go in.
It's hurting my brain.
once again, that's my opinion is you just do it yourself.
Okay, wait a
Tighten
minute.
up
Wait.
security.
Wait. Okay. You pull the fire alarm. Everybody gets out, and you just barricade the doors, so nobody can get in. And then at the
Firefighters
entrance,
have access.
what?
Firefighters have plenty of ways of getting into restricted buildings. They carry gear on them that allows them to get into blockaded spaces because fires often cause blockaded spaces.
The solution is clearly to get the building evacuated, but
Just do it yourself and fail.
I don't think it's that
so
simple.
you're
Why
saying
not?
just hijack a plane 3 days before.
Yes.
Planes weren't hijacked before 9/11?
How do you think they did it? Wait, yes, planes were hijacked before 9/11. Yes, it happens. But it
So
was
what is-
easier to do before 9/11.
So what is doing it ourselves gonna do?
It will make it so if we purposely fail at hitting the World
So-
Trade Center,
So
but
just
we
fly,
make our intention of
fly
hitting,
really close to it and then just miss it.
well, I guess we could do that or something else just to make them be on high alert. If you
I don't think
establish
that knowledge comes with how to fly a plane.
Yeah, because learning, like, you would have to learn it
Yeah.
still.
that's
The
fair.
one thing, I just looked it up. There were plenty of security cameras in the World Trade Center. I was just about to say, why don't you knock out, like, the air conditioning or something? That day.
Is it getting hot in here or is it just me?
It gets really,
See,
really
would
warm. No
prevent
one's going to
people
go
from
in.
You would have to
working,
take a
though.
majority of measures. Tip off to the police that the World Trade Center is going to be attacked. Attempt to attack the World Trade Center. Or get on the same flight that attacked the World Trade Center and stop it from
What do you-
happening.
But you're not there. You're in
do?
the city.
Where'd the
Yeah,
flight
where
come
did the
from?
flights come from?
I don't remember.
Let's find out. Let's Google search here.
Where'd the 9/11 flight take off from? Logan International Airport in Boston, Dulles International Airport near Washington, D.C., a Newark International Airport in New Jersey.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so yeah, there were three
So-
different airports involved. It would be impossible to go to each one of them.
Yeah.
Right.
And the two planes, right? It was like one after the other that crashed into the World Trade Center. So it's like, how are you going to be on both planes? Or it's just you.
Then again,
I mean-
I think maybe Joey has a point of maybe like a
Wait,
tip off.
do I get to choose when the time in the present when I teleport back? Do I have like prep time to think of like, okay, if I learn
No.
how to pilot a plane,
It is at a random time.
Yeah,
Then you
right
do not
now,
know that this
my
is
life.
happening.
you're now in, what would that be? September 8th, 2001. You're there. What are you going to do? I'm going to still hold to the belief of doing something to the building that would make it uninhabitable.
Yeah.
You know, how about we say it
if
would
you set
be
fire to the building
theoretically,
and make sure people can get out of the fire,
but would firefighters go in?
if
You'd
you
have
do it
to
the
be
day
a way
before,
to
if you do it the day
convince them
before, it's
to-
unworkable. If you do it the day before,
Oh.
you can't work in the building anymore.
Oh,
The firefighters
yeah.
get out.
Okay.
Okay, so basically, okay, I like that. Yeah, if you
But
do it 3
would
days
people
before.
be trying to repair it already?
Yeah, but I don't. Could they repair?
Could they get the
Would they
contract?
Would anybody be in there investigating it?
That's true.
I mean, potentially. But how high up on the building would they be? Like,
So
You start the building. If you start the fire from the top of the building, they're going to investigate the top of the building.
so maybe if you only first of all, took out the elevators. Take out the elevators. Like, the elevators stop working when there's a fire, right? So they shouldn't just open automatically. Maybe like if you like set a fire on like certain floors so that they're not up where the planes hit, giving them time to get out.
You don't have money. That's the other thing. You don't have money to do this.
I'm sure you could find something to set a.
You have to start fire
Start a
with
fire
anything you
with.
find in the buildings, and then you have to get out of the building
Just
after you
ask-
start
ask
fire, and you have
somebody-
to get into the second building to start a fire in the second building
Yeah.
as well.
Ask somebody to, like, if they have matches or something. I don't know.
Yeah, like, oh hey, you're smoking. Yeah.
Can I
have
can I borrow
one?
your lighter?
You just run away with the lighter.
I'll be right back.
I'll be right. Yeah.
You would have to do something to the building. Maybe just do something to the building that morning,
I don't know
and
if
then
that.
people don't even have time.
Okay, yeah, I like that morning because you would no because firefighters get in.
But what if you did something where firefighters wouldn't need to come in?
Yeah, like forget the fire. Put something in the
What
air
if they'd
vents
be
to
able
make
to
it.
escape in time though? Like if you're right, if they were low enough,
When did it happen? What time?
it was early.
Let's see.
If you manage to get your hands on
Okay,
A
the
fire
first, so 8:46 a.m. When did work start that day?
Why set? You said 8:49,
8:46.
46.
If you can make the building unenterable, remember, you need to keep people off the top floors. If you can cause some kind of disturbance that prevents people from entering the building, but law enforcement still goes in to investigate the lower parts of the building and stop a fire in the lower parts of the building.
But would they go and investigate if something happened at the top? Check if
If the
anybody's
fire started
there?
from below, there's no reason to check the top. And if you
Yeah, but
incriminate
what if they
yourself in the
wanted to
process,
try and rescue people from the top if they didn't know?
no,
the
but
entire
if you do it
building was
before work
empty?
starts, there will be no one in the building.
I feel like
Oh.
it would be a bustling place that could have people all day long.
But, I mean, before 7 a.m.?
I bet there's people in there at night.
That's what I was just gonna say. Like, did people work at night? Because then you could go in the night before and barricade the front door or something.
You would have to break in, first of all.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. Alarms, security cameras, all that.
You have to break in, start a fire, get out, go to the second building, start another fire, get out.
It's a lot.
If you bomb threat the building,
Oh,
Would still be in there to investigate the bomb threat.
would they?
Yeah.
well, the bomb
like
squad
police.
works differently. The bomb squad works differently.
It does say that there were many night shift positions in the World Trade Center. Yeah.
What do you mean the bomb squad works differently?
Well, they can't just go into like, okay, guys, there's a bomb in there. We're gonna get in and get out. Hustle, hustle.
Well, what is the bomb threat? Like, there's a bomb, and then you hang up. Like, what do you mean? I don't know. They would be looking for the bomb, though. And wait, if there was already a bomb threat, what was it? A few months or a few days before? I
Right.
think they
It
would.
was a few years, I think.
A few years
It
ago.
wasn't a threat, though. It actually happened. It just wasn't positioned right, so it didn't take everything down.
Wow.
If okay, here's the other thing. How long do you think it would take if there are people on every floor to get a building evacuated?
It would be a while, a few hours. I'd think an hour.
But how are you going to evacuate people?
Like, let's say if
You gotta
a,
do it
if
early
a bomb
enough.
threat was called in, like how long would it take for people?
And you have to
evacuate?
remember that theoretically people might not be taking the elevators.
Yeah.
What is the condition to get a flight canceled?
Not much.
Really?
Like dead stop canceled. And you
I
only have
don't
3 days to
think-
do this, right? Do you?
You vandalize
say-
the plane?
I don't even know if that would stop it. They have more planes than one.
You have to vandalize.
That's true.
Or
That's what I'm
one.
saying. If you stop one flight, what's the, like, you stop that
I don't think
flight, okay, then they'll just
targeting
send that
escalation.
person on this flight, you know?
Yeah.
I think you just have to convince the. See, the flight would eventually go through, even if
Okay,
you got
what
the airline.
was the
to-
time
Yeah.
gap between both flights?
I think that your best bet is to try and convince law enforcement that something worse is gonna happen after. Like, try and get people out of the top of the tower, and try and convince.
If you start the fire as it's happening, like a minute before,
Wouldn't be enough time.
mm,
One, you would need to go to each floor, each office in each floor, and set fire to them.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think honestly the
there's
scenario
no
that has
set
the
time.
best
It doesn't seem like there's no set time.
the
No,
scen-
60 minutes. Okay, 60 minutes.
the scenario with probably the most likelihood of working out good is just sending a tip that something's gonna happen.
Would people investigate it though?
That's yeah.
Let's say like
Wait a minute. What if? No.
if you
Okay,
explain,
wait.
like if you threaten it with detail, like if you threaten like, hey, we're gonna have a plane, and then 6 minutes later, the next plane's gonna hit, and you sound like dead serious. You're like as if you're the person committing the crime.
Or what if you called
Right.
posing like you're on the flight?
You can't make a
You
phone
can't
call
call
from
in
the
the
flight.
air though.
Oh,
I mean,
So-
there's some sat phones, but generally
They were less
those
common
would
back
be
then.
restricted.
They were less common
I'm
back
sure
then.
that
Like
the
the days
flight
of
attendant had access to
yeah, probably.
something. But the thing is, if you do it on the flight, the hijackers are on the flight.
It's true.
Yeah, there were 5 hijackers on the 2 flights that hit the Twin Towers. And also the one that hit PA. And then there were 4 on the one that hit the Pentagon.
There's also a lot of variables. There's a lot of.
Because I think it
If
is
you
true. Like,
give a
would
tip
it be
to the police-
investigated enough?
Can you like what's the highest order of law enforcement that you can contact for an emergency?
I'm sure that you could report something to the FBI.
Okay, so if I say to the FBI, "Hey, this is what we're gonna do. This is what I want," that'll give a stipulation for what I want, but it's something completely outlandish that they will not do. They'll evacuate people from the
But
building.
here's the thing, though. They will have to decide if that is if that threat is like real or fake. And if you're not compelling enough, like if you can't give any proof, you're not going to think it's real.
Hey, my name is blah 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 blah. I don't like you, so now I'm going to crash plane into building. That proof? I feel like would they take a threat like that seriously? Like,
You don't sound convincing, though.
Okay, wait a minute. Here's the thing. Okay, I'm looking at this timeline thing. Apparently around what was it? Apparently around 8:37 a.m. Apparently one of the hijackers unintentionally alerted the air controllers and broadcast the attack.
Mm-hmm.
And then Boston Air Traffic Control alerts the U.S. Air Force's Northeast Defense Sector, who then mobilized their Air National Guard to follow the plane. I think a call could have been made or to the trade center saying evacuate the building.
But see, that only gives everyone 9 minutes to evacuate.
that 9 minutes is not enough time to get in contact with everyone, especially if there wasn't
Yeah.
like infrastructure in place. Just
Get in
like
contact
get everyone
with
to
local
evacuate.
PD, and then police department has to call every single office. Like that's the thing. Remember, it's like each floor isn't just one big office. It's like
Yeah.
multiple
Rooms.
offices.
It's
And
not
then
a
inside
I
PA
the
think you
office.
also have to consider, like, maybe if the Air Force could get involved, that would help you out. Like, if that report was made earlier.
Okay. If you die in this
I think
timeline,
that's
do you
realistic.
die in real life?
Yes.
Yes, because you're human.
Okay.
It's just time travel.
So I would sacrifice myself in this case. I would get on the flight and then call in advance.
But there's
Call about
4
the
flights.
emergency.
Hijackers are there.
That has not happened yet.
No,
Get killed by the
Eddie,
hijackers,
we're
but they
just talking
start
about the
evacuating.
Twin Towers. We're just talking about the Twin Towers.
Here's the thing. There's 4 flights, 5 hijackers on 3 of them, and 4 on the 4th one. How are you gonna stop 19 people?
Wait, what was the question again, Preston? Just read the question in exact wording.
Let's go back to the beginning. Let's start over.
If you had 3 days in advance, basically, how could you prevent anyone in the 2 towers from getting injured.
Okay, only the 2 towers. We're only focused on the 2 towers.
Yeah, let's
That's
focus
what
on the
we're
2 towers.
saying. But we're also thinking, how can we get people out of the towers? Oh, let's just stop the whole flight. That's what I think. I'm gonna stick to. I think you have to do something to the building. You have to get in. 3 days. I know it's a short amount of time, but it's also you have some time to do something.
And you have your goal, you have your mission.
Yeah, I feel like calling someone, you can't even give names because if right this second you went there, you wouldn't know anyone's name and you wouldn't be
Here's
able
the
to look
plan.
it up.
All right, here's the plan. You hijack a separate flight.
Oh my goodness.
Tell you.
Okay, you
Why
hijack
do
a
you
separate
want to
flight
hijack things?
on the same
I don't-
day.
I
And
don't
then
know
you
what
just
hijacking is the solution.
you basically get a call made for earlier in the day to get everyone evacuated, so giving everyone time to evacuate.
Oh wait, are you saying you get arrested for it? And you say, "Oh well, I have information that there's going to be another for hijacking."
No, well, you wouldn't get arrested because at this time it says follow orders. If you get a flight like 20 minutes before the actual like thing happens.
No, I think it kind of answers. I mean, the first day you could just hijack a plane, right? If it's that easy. Go to jail, and then when they're interrogating you, you say, "Well, I have information that there's going to be 4 more planes that are hijacked."
I was
Yeah.
like, and
But how do you
pose
prove
as
you have
like a
information? Because they don't just say, "Oh,
co-conspirator.
we have," because people can
Yeah.
use that to leverage and just create leverage out of nowhere. They need evidence to support the leverage that you're bringing.
No, you'll
Well,
just
the
be
thing
fine
is-
staying in jail because you're gonna get teleported.
If you gave them information too, I think they take it somewhat seriously, but they'd want to know what is your motive. Like, what do you? Because they are
We
thinking
need to
of
know
you
what
at
the
that
exact
point.
motive was for the attack.
No, but I'm not sure. But if they're thinking of you as a criminal at that point, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then how they if you tell them something like that, they want to know why you're telling that to them.
Get out of jail. It's like a negotiation thing. Like, oh, I'll give you
They're not going to do
information,
that.
and
But no,
if
no,
you
but no.
can negotiate the sentence or whatever,
Yeah, yeah.
That's
like,
why I'm saying we should
yeah.
I'll give
hijack
you
it ourselves.
information.
I'm saying we should hijack a different plane earlier, threaten to hit the world, then say we're threatening to hit the World Trade Center. This is what we want, but it's gonna be too soon. They're gonna start evacuating people from the World Trade Center.
Well, here's the thing, though. If you hijack a plane at any point, like, are you going to be able to land the plane?
Yeah, I'll be right back.
Gotta take a moment to think about that one.
Well, I think I say we go on to a new topic for now. I think we've came to the general answer that it would be a very difficult task.
Yeah, I think honestly, the best bet would just to find some way to evacuate the buildings beforehand,
Yeah.
or just call in a tip off. Call in an anonymous tip 3 days before.
And say for in 3 days.
Yeah, 3 days.
Would
more.
you say would you say that it would be an airplane or would you say something else?
I would probably keep it like they're terrorists are planning to hijack 4 flights. 2 of them will hit the World Trade Center. 1 will hit the Pentagon. And
If you get
I mean, come on. Like, I feel like like if you called, you could like call every hour. If you
it's
called
hard to
every
say
hour,
because now it's like if somebody just like randomly called you up, I think you'd think it's a joke.
I know, but if law enforcement gets the same call,
Yeah.
you could even make a recording and just have the call play on recording.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm sure maybe somebody might be moved to investigate. Like, okay, maybe we should be on the lookout for something.
Yeah, I think that's a good conclusion.
Just find some way to yeah, I think that might be That might be the best. The best.
I will say, I think if you just call and you haven't done anything, it won't mean as much. But if you're threatened, like if there's a threat of you going to prison for a lifetime for hijacking a plane, and then you give information to try to work with them and try to get a reduced sentence, it's more believable.
That's true.
Yeah.
So I think I would do that. Either do something to the building to try and make people unable to enter, but that still leaves people who could be going in there. And then the second option is hijack a plane the first day that you're there, and then go to jail as they're interrogating you. You know, because just making a call as a normal civilian, I don't think it's as believable.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. I agree with that one. Yeah, I think that's probably the best, because then you'd be like, okay, because it's kind of like you're hijacking the plane, but you're just gonna land it safely, just so that you can get an audience and give them the information they need.
Or even just an attempt. I don't know, like, what would the seriousness have to be to get, like, a life sentence or, go to jail? But
It's weird. I feel like it's not gonna be a life sentence if you yourself didn't actually do something serious. So in that case, in 10 years, you'd probably be out. Like if you time traveled back forward 10 years.
Probably. Makes sense. All right, so that was pretty. After going from like a serious topic like 9/11, let's discuss something a little more lighthearted. Let's go to the next hypothetical situation. Our last one for tonight. Last one for this video. Donuts. Here's the challenge. You're given. You're $500,000. The prize is $500,000. But in order to do it, you'll need to completely finish a donut. The donut will be given to you by a proctor who will observe you eating the donut. A few tiny crumbs can fall, but if any big pieces of the donut touch the ground, you failed the challenge. Which donut do you choose?
So is this any donut?
Any donut.
Is it a special donut?
No,
is it
any
a big
donut.
Yeah.
Any donut.
A good apple cider donut.
Remember,
Why don't I just eat any donut?
No, like tiny crumbs can fall, but if a bigger piece falls off the donut, you lose the challenge.
What's defined as a donut in this case?
Any donut.
I don't know. You
Is
go
it
to Dunkin'
called a
Donuts.
donut?
What's a Dunkin' Donuts?
Wait, like a munchkin? Are you asking that, Joe?
No,
Like,
not a donut hole. It's not a donut hole. That's
No,
a
no, no,
donut
no,
hole.
no, no. I mean, like, does the donut have glaze on it? There's like,
Yes.
Sure.
Any
It's a
donut.
donut.
You
Not
select
every
the
donut has
donut you
glaze
want
on
to
it.
eat.
Can I eat a mini donut?
I mean, I
Sure.
guess.
Nah. I think it would have to be a standard size.
Yeah, standard size. Let's go Dunkin'
If it's a-
Donuts. Dunkin'
If
Donuts
it's a
size.
standard size, I could just get like a vanilla frosted one with no sprinkles and shove it all in my mouth.
I would
Does
just like
sprinkle
I would
count
just
as
like
a large
squeeze
piece?
it
I don't
to a
think so.
pulp and then
No,
just,
no,
like,
yeah, it
put
does.
in my
The
mouth.
sprinkles
Biscuit.
count. The sprinkles count. The sprinkles can't fall.
So no sprinkles, no powder. Like I don't even think I would get a filling just so nothing falls out, and just like a regular glazed donut, smush it into my mouth all at once and chew
Oh
it.
wait, can I cut it with a knife?
The post didn't say anything about that.
So I would, yeah. Well,
This is
Okay,
not
actually,
asking about, this is not like
the
a,
donut. Okay, let's the donut has to stay in your hand the whole time. It can't leave your hand.
See,
Can you cut it in your hand?
oh wait. This is the thing. Like, donuts
this is
do
not
crumble
this is
almost.
asking what my favorite donut is.
No, but
No,
like,
it's strategy.
smart. If you like the
This
Boston
is asking
cream or
what I don't
something,
eat donuts. I don't really eat donuts. Like this is asking me what what donut I prefer.
no, but like a Boston cream wouldn't be good because you run the risk of the cream falling out.
That's true.
You know. So I would probably just do like a vanilla frosted, and I should be able to fit it in my mouth.
Yeah, no, I probably do like a chocolate glazed. I'd probably just like one of those basic chocolate ones.
Now, what if it was like a lot of donuts?
It's just one donut.
What if?
Yeah.
But what if it was a lot of donuts? Because this is a really uninteresting question.
I see it, but it is simple. So you just have to pick what donut.
My favorite
Apples every
donut.
all the way.
But it's like which
Okay,
donuts aren't
apples
going to
are-
crumble? You know, which donuts aren't going to crumble? You know, like
Every donut's crumbling, get a new donut.
Freshly baked, they're not going to crumble. Dude.
What if it's like a really stale
If
donut?
you put your hand on it and catch it, does it count?
yeah, as long as the crumb doesn't fall on the floor.
I think I could
I'm
do,
going
just
apple cider donut.
both hands, kind of like
Yeah, definitely
And then,
nothing
like,
with sprinkles because that's good. That
touch
could
it
be
almost,
too,
you know.
like unmanageable.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, like,
All right. That was good.
Yeah, that was pretty good. Okay, well, I think our first podcast episode was a success. We started it off kind of heavy. You know, Preston, you pitched that to me at the beginning, like when we were talking about the podcast. I didn't expect you to actually open with that one.
Yeah, it's a good
So-
opener.
So that was you caught me off guard a little bit, but I think it was good. I think we came to a good consensus about what we need to do, and we rounded it off with donuts. So thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in, for my wonderful hosts, for doing this podcast with me. Again, my name is Michael, joined by Anthony, Joey, Preston. Hope you all have a good night, and we'll see you all in our next episode. Maybe it'll be next week, maybe it won't. I don't know. We haven't figured out an upload schedule yet, but we'll hope to see you guys soon. And let us know in the comments if there's a specific type of genre of question category.
give
Or
us
if you just
questions
got
in
a
the
good
comments.
hypothetical
yeah.
situation.
Yes.
Yeah, give us some hypothetical situations in the comments. Let us know what we should do next. And as always, hope you have a good day. See everybody later.
Guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.